Make a Basque cheesecake. It's very simple. It's like a regular cheesecake, but it's burnt. I found a recipe right here. This recipe is as simple as it gets, as Basque cheesecake is probably the most bang for your buck dessert you can make, right behind creme brulee. And because Basque sounds fancy and it's a region of France and Spain, it gives people the impression that it is, but all it is burnt custard, which requires almost no technique. And it's basically impossible to fuck up, but nothing's impossible, so even if you do, it'll still taste great, and you can sell it to rich white people for a nearly clean 200% profit margin. And in my case, if you're Indian, you can put a nice Indian spin on it and fuck it, sell it for even more. But in all honesty, it's just really delicious cheesecake.
I love cheesecake.
Now, on to the first step. This is where this deviates from a more traditional Basque cheesecake. So instead of mascarpone or just cream cheese, we'll be using koya as well. So to make koya, first add 1 liter of whole milk and 3 crushed green cardamom pods to a saucepan. Bring that to a boil over medium-high heat. Once it boils, you'll reduce the heat to low. Let it simmer for 2 to 3 hours, giving it a stir every 5 minutes or so, just to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom, till all you're left with is a solid Play-Doh-like mass of milk solids. So yeah, this process takes quite a bit of time, but like I said earlier, you can just use mascarpone or more cream cheese, or just buy a block of this stuff at any local Indian grocery store. Now once you get to this stage, take it off the heat, get rid of the cardamom pops, and let it rest until it's cool enough to handle with your hands. You should end up with something around 190 to 220 grams, but anywhere in this range should be fine. If you look at mine, you'll see it's still a little bit wet. You should cook it a bit further than this until it's almost completely dry and just forms one solid pliable mass. Next, you'll place the warm mass of koya onto a flat work surface, and using the palm of your hand or a bench scraper, just work in small batches and smear it just like this across the board until everything's totally smooth. Until the hard part's over, it's nothing but smooth sailing from this point on. First, you'll preheat an oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Place a large baking sheet inside of it to preheat. Next, add 700 grams of room temperature cream cheese and 200 grams of the creamed koya to a bowl, and using a hand mixer set on low speed, mix until it's light, fluffy, and homogeneous. You could also use a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment if you have that, or you could use a whisk if you wanted to. Then add 300 grams of granulated white sugar in batches, about a half cup at a time, and once the sugar is fully dissolved and you can't feel any granules between your fingers just like this, add 5 eggs one at a time, waiting until the previous egg is fully emulsified before adding the next. Then add 2 egg yolks and repeat the previous steps. Next, add 350 grams of heavy whipping cream, 2 tablespoons of sherry wine or any flavored liqueur that you would like, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste. Now on to the last step of the batter. We'll sift in 30 grams of all-purpose flour and 20 grams of cornstarch. Throughout the process of making the batter, you may want to increase the speed, but don't do that because good things come to people who wait. I don't know if that's completely true, but if you do increase the speed, you'll incorporate more air into the batter and your cake will souffle a lot more than it normally does in the oven, which will lead to a less dense and creamy product. Then with a 9-inch springform cake pan, grease the inside with butter or spray oil. I'm using butter. Then cut 2 squares of parchment paper. Place the first one in like this and the next one diagonally across the first one, so you have a star pattern like this. And make sure to cut your squares large enough so you have about 2 inches of overhand. Just pour the batter straight into the cake pan, then into the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes or until the top looks completely burnt like this. But don't worry, this is exactly how it should be, and you'll know it's done if you give the tray a little shake. You should see a little bit of jiggle. Or you can check by placing an instant read thermometer into the center and it reads 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that it's finished, you just want to let this sit at room temperature for about 4 to 6 hours before slicing, or you could leave it in the fridge overnight and then bring it up to room temperature right before slicing. Now you can see here, I cut into it only after about 2 hours, I'd say. And the inside is not set at all. It just gushes out like this. Still tastes great, but it's not what you want. You want it to be set and creamy, just like this. And that's it. Like I said earlier, it's super simple and probably the easiest dessert you can make. It's rich and creamy, and the koya just adds a nice toffee brown butter-like sweetness and adds a bit of body to the cake itself. This way to serve it is just plain, No sauces, compotes, or fresh fruit, just plain, exactly the way it's meant to be. But it does pair nicely with a glass of sherry, scotch, or even an off-dry Riesling would probably be good too. Or you could drink apple juice. I don't know. You can drink whatever you want. Now, the last thing you got to do is just smash that like button and subscribe. Turn post notifications on. And the recipe's in the link in the description below, alongside a bunch of other recipes. And you can use my Squarespace code to get 10% off your next website. Not actually, but if I did have one, that'd be pretty cool. That's why you gotta like and subscribe.